Hello, my goblins and ghouls. Thank you so much for clicking on an episode of Side Flick. Let's talk some movie news, baby. Some of the things we're going to be talking about here today is just the box office boom and success of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. We got the announcement of a popular horror movie, It Follows, getting a sequel along with its title. We got the title revealed for the upcoming Ghostbusters sequel along with when you can expect the new trailer. Really, that along with so much more, so you guys know the drill. Leave your opinions down below with everything we discuss here today. Y'all are amazing, beautiful faces, and just for fun, let me know what you're going to be for Halloween, okay? It's tomorrow. I'm curious to hear what the most popular costumes are going to be. But alright, jumping straight into things, I want to talk about a little trailer that Blumhouse released this morning that apparently was playing all weekend, is for a movie titled Imaginary. Now, the trailer they released is only 15 seconds long, and it really doesn't show much but a blinking title and some happy kind of toy box music in the background. And it's funny because when this was released, Blumhouse on their social medias was saying, close your eyes and imagine the movie. They saw those negative reviews for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie and we're like, you know what? Make the movie yourself, my friend. Here you go. Imagine it. But I kind of like the idea of this marketing, you know? It's like, okay, let's get into it. Let's start creating some hype for a random horror movie. I know Blumhouse gets a lot of crap, and they definitely don't always make the best horror movies, but they're making horror movies. Although Imaginary didn't give us much to go off from this first trailer, we did look at the IMDb page, and looks like we got an interesting premise here. Looks like this movie's going to be about a woman returns to her childhood home to discover that the imaginary friend she left behind is very real and unhappy that she abandoned him. Hook, line, and sinker. If the design of this imaginary friend is cool, wicked, and awesome, we got a franchise in our hands, and I want to see 10 imaginary movies. The only thing really holding me back is I'm just now noticing it's being directed by Jeff Wadlow. Nothing against Mr. Wadlow. I am sure he is a wonderful man, but let me read you some of the movies he's made. Truth or Dare, Fantasy Island. He's also supposed to be making the haunted 8-ball horror movie for Hasbro. So, sucks that such a cool premise might not turn out great, but I'm gonna give you another chance, Mr. Wadlow. What do you guys think about the movie called Imaginary? And other interesting horror movie related news, we got revealed that Poltergeist, a pretty famous and iconic horror movie, is going to be getting a TV series for Amazon, part of their MGM Studios collaboration. Now, there hasn't been any details revealed about the film or what it'll be about. All that they said is that the show will take place within the world of the original film. So, okay, there's a little bit of continuity there because there was a remake that came out a couple years back that honestly I never even checked out. I don't know if it's any good. You guys know if it's any good? But I do remember the original Poltergeist, and oh, I like that movie. It's still so crazy to think that film is PG because PG back then was not as censored as PG now. But as far as a TV series goes, like, I don't know. It's horror TV shows based off popular horror movies are always so hit or miss. They're either really good or they just really slow. This maybe has the potential, and there's a lot of fun things that do happen in that first Poltergeist that could be fun in a TV show form, but just don't know if it would work for me. I'm gonna have to wait to see some footage and what this ends up looking like, but Poltergeist getting the TV show treatment. You interested in that? Something else that kind of came out of nowhere and just the horror fans are winning nonstop around the Spook Your Mama season, we got confirmed to a sequel for It Follows. Real today by the Studio Neon, who posted on their social media, they let us know that a sequel to It Follows is happening almost 10 years after the original movie, where it is going to be titled They Follow. Now again, if you're someone who hasn't seen that original It Follows, I recommend it to you, especially around Halloween. It's got a really weird premise, but it's actually good, about this girl who has a one-night stand with a guy only to find out that he passed on a paranormal STD to her, where this ghost entity will be following her, getting closer and closer, trying to kill her, and the only way to avoid the death is to sleep with someone else and pass it on to the next person. Yeah, kind of a wild premise, but the movie's actually pretty good. And so now with the second movie titled They Follow, your mind starts racing because the first film was only just one entity, one ghost following you around. They implies, I guess, multiple. People just getting down and dirty and multiple entities following them? I don't know, man. I'm just trying to play in the world of what they got here. It's still so wild to me that a premise like that churned out a pretty good horror movie. It's also worth noting that the original director and the final girl from that film, Michael Monroe, will be returning, so it looks like it'll be a continuous story and not just something brand new happening. I know people always get mad when like iconic horror movies end up getting a sequel years later, but I'm kind of up for it to see it if they have a good premise for this one. And this movie in itself is just very unique with its monster and the way it gets around. So I'm actually up for this, and I hope they pull it off well. I'm going to be looking forward to it. it. Are you excited for the It Follows sequel titled They Follow? Moving on here, we got revealed the title for the upcoming Ghostbuster movie. Thanks to Scooper Cryptic 4K quality, they not only let us know the title of the new Ghostbuster movie, but that the trailer is coming within a few weeks. This account has been very on point on when to expect trailers online, so I do trust them as a source, and they're saying here that the new Ghostbuster movie, that is a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, is going to be titled Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And you know what? I kind of dig that title. I think it's kind of cool. It also goes with the little logo they revealed to us of the Ghostbuster logo all iced out. The movie is going to be bringing back the cast from the previous Ghostbuster movie, this time setting it in New York, so it looks like whatever ghost or entity they're fighting this time around, it's got some ice powers, and we're going to see the Ghostbusters, you know, doing some busting in the snow. I want to see people bust in the snow. Joking aside though, while I really did enjoy Afterlife, I'm excited for this movie to feel a lot more like a traditional Ghostbuster movie, you know, being set in New York and just going after a big bad, people in jumpsuits, doing a mission. I really hope this does a good job. So hopefully this movie gets the hype train going. This movie's set to release in March of 2024. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. You ready to bust in the snow? But now bringing us to talk about some Five Nights at Freddy's, because yeah, there's no doubt about it, we are getting a sequel to this movie, and I know there's already been rumors online that it's happening. While I 100% guarantee you, yes, it is happening. Blumhouse hasn't put out the official word yet. Wouldn't be surprised if they do it tomorrow on Halloween. But the movie has already busted a lot of records. Some of these records include the biggest Halloween opening ever, the biggest opening for a horror movie in 2023, second place is Scream 6, the third biggest opening for a video game adaptation, and the second biggest theatrical day-and-date opening. That's for movies that also came out on streaming at the same time. Even for Blumhouse as a studio, it's their biggest opening for any of their horror movies, coming out with a worldwide box office of $130 million off just a $25 million. This movie is doing gangbusters numbers, and that's awesome, man. Regardless what you thought about the movie, whether you thought it was good or bad, this is kind of a big deal. There are a lot of fan bases online that have huge amounts of fans, but sometimes those fans don't want to leave their house to pay for a ticket. Take a look at DC, for instance. A lot of DC movies get released, and I'm sure there's a ton of DC fans out there. They don't really like showing up for the last couple bit of movies. I always felt that way about the Chucky franchise too. The Chucky movies surprisingly don't do that good at the box office either. But I know from experience, there are giant Chucky fans out there. For Five Nights at Freddy's, I knew there was a gigantic fan base, but I didn't know if they would show up to the theaters. And man, that is awesome that you guys did and made this a monstrous hit. I definitely feel we're going to be getting the announcement of the second movie pretty soon, and I'm sure they're having plans to start filming it next year. If things go the way they film like the Halloween franchise and trilogy, there's a really good chance they film it next year and also release it next year. Heck, I've already started doing some digging with interviews and things lurking around about the second movie, and so I'm going to make a whole separate video on all the details we have confirmed for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, because there's actually a lot of interesting information out there. But now I just wanted to really tip my hat to this box office and to the fans who showed up. Like, that's exciting. But I also have seen comments from fans who were unhappy with this movie. I'm curious to hear from those as well, that even though you didn't love this movie, are you hoping the second movie might make up some of those mistakes you felt this one did, or what do you think they should do differently? Because I think there was a lot of people who went to see this movie wanting to be part of the hype, but then because they weren't that big of fans and they didn't know enough about the lore, they came out confused. I saw a lot of comments like that in my reviews of people who knew nothing and they walked out confused and disappointed with the movie. I wonder if the box office for the sequel will go up or really down. But that is all the movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.